Hi, and welcome to Untethered with Jen Liss, the podcast that's here to help you break free, be you, and unleash your inner brilliance. I'm your host, Jen, and in this episode, we're going to talk about what I think you might need to know right now. Let's dive in. Hey there, unicorn. It's Jen. Welcome back. I, today, am doing a little something different, but it's still a Thursday thread. It's a Thursday thread, or it might be a Friday Fred. It's a Friday Fred. This episode might not come out till Friday, and that's okay. We'll get to that here in just a second. So one of the things that we talked about in Tuesday's episode with Rizal Celestina is our desire, something that's calling on our hearts, something that's coming through for the two of us right now in this season of our lives, to be radically honest, radically authentic. What is that new layer of authenticity? We could ask this question of what actually does it mean to be authentic? Can you ever be fully honest? Is there always something within us, something in our ego, something in this self that we feel like we have to be, and how we feel like we have to show up in the world that is never fully honest? I have all of these questions, very big philosophical questions that have been going through my mind lately. And at the same time, here's where I've landed. We can always be moment to moment, breath by breath, exactly where we are. And right where I am is as honest and authentic as I can be in this moment. And there's always some new layer for me to unravel. And so that's how I'm showing up. And I'm also simultaneously questioning, is there anything that I can do to be even truer to myself? Is there anything that I can do that feels a little bit more free? Is there anything that I could do that could make life in this moment more fun? And I know the big F word, fun, can be so scary to people. It can be fun is just as scary as free. And the two are so linked together that we would rather be in this state of attempting to control our lives, which in turn creates such suffering and such misery, than we would to be absolutely free and having the best time of our lives. And I know that sounds so ridiculous. And when you really look at your life and you really look at the things that you're doing and the little tiny ways that you're trying to control your behaviors, that you're irritated with others' behaviors because there's something in you that's not okay with the way that they're living their lives or the way that they're acting or the things that they're saying, that's trying to control yourself and others. What if you could just let yourself not? There's a big question. So here's the deal. I have been resisting recording this podcast episode, which is why it's potentially a Friday Fred instead of a Thursday thread, because there's something in me that is like over trying to figure out what I'm going to say and trying to think about what it is that I want to communicate. And there's a shift that's happening for me that I can't even quite communicate. And so there's part of me that is saying, you have nothing clear. There's nothing clarified to say to people right now. And then the part of me that ended up winning out today, and when I finally got into action, finally sat down here in my office to record this podcast episode, was you don't really need to say anything but the truth. And the truth is that I'm in this season where I am letting go of control of a lot of things that I previously have had control over. And so one of those things is this consistency. I've been putting out episodes, and I know I had a big break last year, but consistently for the past couple of years when I'm doing episodes, it's been a Tuesday interview, a Thursday thread, a Tuesday interview, a Thursday thread. And that worked so well for me. I loved it. It was a lot of fun. I had such a blast. I got to meet such cool people. I loved every interview that I ever did. Well, there's one. That one it never saw the light of day. And now you're curious and you want to hear it, right? Well, you're not going to. So I did that for a long time. And right now, I just don't feel like doing that. I just don't. And so I'm not going to because that's the place that I'm in Right now, I'm just not going to. And maybe I'm throwing a toddler tantrum. Maybe that is right where I'm at. And I'm okay with that. Because when I sat down and I said, what is it that I actually want to talk about today? I actually wanted to pull some cards. I wanted to pull some tarot cards for anybody who happens to listen to this. I was like, what sounds exciting to me in this episode is to do that. So the thread that I'm pulling out from the conversation in Rizelle's episode is radical truth. And the radical truth for myself is that I wanted to do something different and I wanted to do something that felt fun to me for this episode. So I pulled some tarot cards for you. How about it? Do you like that idea? Are you feeling that? If you're opposed to tarot, please know that tarot was created. You can go back and listen to this episode when I went back and I did the Untethered Practices series. There's an episode I did about tarot. It was created by a bunch of rich Italian creative men sitting around during medieval times or during the Renaissance where money was plentiful and everything was thriving and they had time on their hands. They weren't, just trying to get through the day and in suffering all the time. They happened to have spare time and they were sitting around staring at each other in a circle and decided that they would come up with a game. And that game ended up being tarot. So that is my Cliff Notes version of how tarot was created. You can believe it's the occult. You can believe it's all these things. I do personally believe that I am connecting to the divine intelligence, the stream of universal intelligence, the stream of energy that has creative ideas for us and that is connected to all things when I interpret a tarot card. Now that might feel a little bit occulty to some people. But we can get into that entire discussion in another episode. Maybe someday, if you're curious about it, you can let me know. Did you know you can text me? There's actually like a little link in the show notes that you can click and you can send me a text and we can have a conversation. You can tell me what you want, or you can tell me what you think. You can tell me what you feel. That is totally available to you. However, tarot. Tarot is created by a bunch of rich Italian men. So take from that what you will. I pulled 3 cards for you. You want to hear them? I'm really excited. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe that for this group of unicorns who listens to this podcast, that these are the 3 cards that I got for you. It's so relevant. It's so relevant to me and my life right now and where I'm at. And I feel like it's probably relevant to you because we just came through this eclipse season. We're still in the eclipse season, but we just came through this eclipse that is about shedding. We're also in the year of the snake. It's about shedding all that is not you. Everything that is a false pretense, all of those false senses of control, everything that is not it, so that you can get to the it. So you can get to the isness, to the actual truth of who you are, what you came here to do, what your purpose is. That is this year. That is this season that we are in. And let me tell you these 3 cards. So the first card that we pulled is the Fool. In this particular tarot deck that I have, it's the Wild Unknown. It's a very, very popular starter deck for tarot. I'm not a very qualified tarot reader, by the way. I just read it for myself and then occasionally for friends and family. But it is did I say the foot? It's the Fool. The L on this card looks like foot. So sometimes I'm like, ooh, the foot. And then I'm like, wait, what does that mean? It's the Fool. Hold the Fool. It's the cutest card. It's got this little adorable baby bird on it. It's like fluffy and so cute. The Fool, spontaneity and innocence. So I'm just going to read you what this says. The Fool is ready to fly. His young wings ache for flight. And with a single step, he leaves behind the comfort of the nest to begin the journey through the major arcana. Is he ready? Will he fall? This is a card about beginnings. It points to the side of you that is spontaneous, excited, naive, and inexperienced. Others may doubt your abilities. Be ready to be called the Fool, not the foot. Be ready to fall. No matter what people say about you, this is your journey and it's already begun. So this is fascinating because some of you may know if you're on my email list, I am starting a new beginning. I am going to, for the next couple of months, I am going to do something that I have wanted to do for a long time, and I am going to be a digital nomad. I am going to take my work wherever I am and live. I'm going to do house sitting and live in different places. And I literally have no idea where I'm going, except that my first stop is in Seattle, Washington. And then I've got some potential other stops and some places in mind that I would like to go. But that's it. I myself am in a new beginning, and I know a lot of people who are, and you yourself, there may be something that is either coming to completion and or something that is already beginning to bud. And we're also in spring. So that's extra interesting that this card came through for us. But the important thing about this card and about new beginnings is that when you start something new, you have to be ready to look like a fool because you don't know everything. You're inexperienced. You are naive. And it's that naivete that allows you to go for it. Because if you knew everything at the beginning of the journey and exactly how it was going to play out, you wouldn't do it. Because there's going to be trips, there's going to be falls, there's going to be moments where you do feel like the fool. So we just have to follow the excitement and the enthusiasm and just get started. And fear is going to be there. It's so normal that fear is going to be there. Fear and anxiousness and excitement are completely linked. They're actually like the same chemical signature in your body. It's the story that you tell yourself about it. So remember how much you love starting new things. You love learning, you love growing, and that will help you to take the step on your journey. Now, here is something important that is happening right now, is that with all of this shedding, with all of this letting go, and with these new beginnings that are brewing, if you hold on to the thing that is meant to be shedding, you're going to be miserable right now. So if you're holding on to something, or if you're feeling miserable, if you're feeling like really, really, really like a lot of what I call crunchiness in your life, you're probably holding on to something that is meant to be let go of. Okay? Remember that. The Fool. Okay, next card. It's so linked. It's so linked. It's so fun. So the next card that was pulled for you, by the way, the question that I asked was, what is it that somebody who listens to this episode needs to hear right now? So that was my question that instigated these cards. So the next card that we got is the Six of Cups. This card in this deck has a beautiful tree. It looks like one of the trees right here in Oregon. Big, beautiful pine looking tree. And it's black and white. So the upper above the ground is black and white. And then below the ground, it shows these beautiful multicolor roots that are growing down into the ground. And the roots are just as tall. They go just as far down into the ground as the tree is rising above. So you've got this black and white tree. And then the roots themselves are just colored in all of these different colors. It's a beautiful card. So the Six of Cups in this deck says memories, childhood, joy. Remembering that joy is your strategy. I'll read this to you. The Six of Cups, a card of beautiful implications. The Six of Cups focuses on the magic and innocence of childhood. Remember, we just had the Fool. The roots of years past are alight with color and vibrancy. Think about those roots. The roots of years past are alight with color and vibrancy. Look back upon them. Get lost in your memories. Old friends may surface and seek you out. All reunions will be joyful. Enjoy simple pleasure and wonder in all areas of your life. And you don't probably need me to connect to you how the Fool and the Six of Cups play together. If you're thinking about being naive, if you're thinking about new beginnings, if you're thinking about enthusiasm and excitement and energy about new things, when you were a child, everything is new. Everything is exciting. There's innocence, there's magic. So what we're being called back to, you and me and anybody who's listening to this podcast, we're being called right now in this moment. I've never done an episode where I just read cards to you. I'm being called to read these to you. These are coming through for you. We are called in this moment to let ourselves go back to what it is at the root. When you were a child, what brought you joy? What lit you up? Remember, those roots are full of light. They're full of color. And on top of that, what has grown, there's perhaps something that is darkening that tree. That tree is in black and white, but the roots are filled with color. So go back to your roots, especially if there's something that feels like a shadow over your life, or if there's something that just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like it fits. Something's not working. If you're feeling that way in any aspect of your life, that could be in your career, it could be in your friendship, it could be in a romantic relationship, it could be with your money, it could be with anything. If there's some dark shadow that's being cast, go back to what lit you up as a child, what brought you joy. Remember a moment in your childhood that was just so full of light. I was just at this retreat. I went to this 5-day retreat, turned my phone off. I was just in it. It was actually an advanced energetics training. Some of what I talked about pulling from the ether ideas and creativity, we were actually practicing the art of that. It was amazing. And I'll probably be sharing a little bit more about that over time and bringing that into everything that I do, of course, my breath work and everything. One of the activities that we did was to remember our roots. And we actually remembered the land that we grew up on. And that was hard for a lot of people to remember the place of your childhood, because there are so many people who have childhood trauma, or maybe they didn't like where they grew up. Maybe they moved away. I mean, I myself have moved away from Kansas. So going back and remembering, where are your roots? Where did you begin? And the people who were the most resistant actually to it ended up having the most amazing realizations about the place where they grew up. So what I would encourage for you is remembering and starting with the land. Can you remember a time where you connected with a tree, or maybe your grandma had a garden, or maybe you loved playing out in the yard, or maybe it was a lake that you liked swimming in as a kid. Maybe your aunt and uncle, you would go and feed their chickens. Maybe you remember picking flowers, or maybe in the schoolyard, you remembered like the bees buzzing and, something about the land, and start there and then see what memories are conjured up for you. Because for me, one of the memories that I thought of was myself swinging in a tire swing. And I remember I was singing my favorite things. These are a few of that song. I was singing it and I was just swinging in the tire swing. And beside me was my dad working in the garden. And I remember looking up through the trees and seeing through the trees the bright blue sky that had a few puffy clouds in it. And I started to remember just how good it felt to me to just swing in the breeze and belt out this song, even though I have never considered myself a singer. And even as a kid, I definitely did not feel confident singing. But in that moment, I was just belting it out and I was just having such a beautiful time, just feeling so free. And what I realized was that I had felt so free in that moment to share my voice. And so it brought me back to something that I'm enjoying right now, which is podcasting, teaching, sharing, breathworking, hosting retreats. By the way, Island Awakening Retreat. Ooh, we've had several people sign up and we're so excited for you. I'll share a little bit more about Island Awakening if you're curious about it. But that is what I was like, oh, I always enjoyed that. Oh, it did feel so fun and so free, and it just came so naturally to me. So, what for you takes you back to your roots and your childhood joy? Okay. Now we have our third card. This is probably the most I'll be honest, this is the most beautiful card pull that I have had in a long time. The third card is the Ace of Wands, and this card is it's a stick that looks like it's so perfect for spring, because it's a stick that looks like it has cherry blossoms growing on it, and then around the stick with the cherry blossoms growing on it is this bright yellow light, and then radiating out from the bright yellow light are all of these orange and red rays. So it's just like you look at this card and you're like, oh, it's so powerful. It's just a really beautiful, powerful card. So the Ace of Wands is expansion and inspiration. An extremely high energy card. You can see that when you look at this card. The Ace of Wands indicates new growth is all around you. Your ideas and outlook will expand, and creativity seems endless. This fertile time can also have literal meanings. A pregnancy or birth may be on the horizon. Though it's thrilling to embark on your new journey, your good judgment is needed now more than ever. Don't rush into it. So talk about completion of these three cards, because this is about creativity. It's about new growth. It's about new beginnings. You're embarking on a new journey and you've got so much energy and so much aliveness and so much possibility. So here's what I'll tell you about the first two cards. You have to be willing to be the fool. You have to be willing to start. And then go back to your roots, go back to your childhood. What is it that brings you joy? And then from that place, you will have boundless creativity. You will have boundless inspiration, ideas. Your outlook is expanding. And then what this card is calling to you, it also says a pregnancy or new birth may be on the horizon. That could be literal, but it could be the birth of a new idea. It could be the birth of a new way of being. When you think about, like, I'm about to, start traveling the world, there's a new beginning that is happening for me. So what new beginning is happening for you? And it may be thrilling, but good judgment is needed. So what it's saying is don't rush into it. And here's what I will interpret for you based on the don't rush into it is spend time on card 2. Spend time getting back to your roots. Journal about that. Really think, what is it that really lit me up? Let yourself go back to childhood memories. Feel those memories. Remember what it was that you loved. And this can be challenging sometimes. There's times that we feel like, oh, this is a waste of my time to go back and to think of these things. Or maybe you even start to feel into some of those memories and it feels a little bit too good. So then we start having stress thoughts that start to come up. This happens really often, especially when we're expanding our capacity for joy. So what I recommend in those moments is to notice what it is that's coming up for you and then acknowledge it and say, I do feel that I'm having some stressful thoughts around this. Just simply acknowledge that those are there. And then turn your focus back to the feelings of joy and tell your body and your mind, it's safe for me to feel this good. It's safe for me to return to those memories. And when we take the time to spend there, you will easily use good judgment in your decisions because you'll remember your alignment. And your alignment is connected to your joy. And your joy was at its purest in childhood. So before all of these, things that we feel like we should be doing, could be doing, the ways that we think that we need to be appropriate behaviors, before perfectionism kicked in, before all of these things that stop us from living our most pure, maybe you could say naive, stop us from allowing ourselves to be the fool, before all of that settled into your awareness and your beliefs about how you need to show up in the world, you were so connected to simply what brought you joy. Before somebody told you, oh, you can't do that. Oh, you shouldn't do that. Oh, that's not appropriate behavior. And yes, of course, we need to realize all the ways that we fit in with the constructs of our society. We can't just be out there. I mean, you can do anything that you want, and there are consequences in our society to the things that you do. But before that, you knew what brought you joy. So spend time on card 2 so that you can feel more confident in those new beginnings. You can feel more confident being the fool because you remember why. You remember that why, that thing that is at the foundation level. This is what I came here to do. Yeah? Do you feel these cards? I feel like I was so excited. I was like, I can't even believe I did not choose these cards and from these are the ones that popped out for you. So I hope you feel a little bit of inspiration and you feel a little bit of joy hearing these from me today. And speaking of exciting things and things that bring me joy, the Island Awakening Luxury Retreat that I'm doing with my friend Roselle Celestina is happening June 4th through 8th on the island of St. Martin. It is a combination of all of my childhood favorite things and all of my adult favorite things rolled into one. It's going to have deep inner work, deep self-reflection, breath work. We're doing breath work every single day. We are meditating every single day. We are connecting with our why. We're connecting with our purpose. And we are doing so in order to overcome our fears and step into this next chapter with a bold authenticity. That is what we are doing in this retreat. We are setting aside fear and we are stepping into the most powerful version of ourselves. It's going to be so freaking good. I'm juiced. I'm jazzed. I'm all the J words for this event. And we have only, our capacity is 12 for this event. And we've already got people signing up. If you sign up before April 1st, which is coming up really fast, you get a free VIP upgrade and $700 off. This is an incredible deal for this retreat. We are taking you to these amazing restaurants in St. Martin. You're going to get to enjoy local cuisine. You're going to get to enjoy some really nice restaurants. And we're going to do adventures in the island. We're going to go meet with a local at her home. She's amazing. Talk about somebody who's just going to empower and inspire your pants off. You're going to love her. We're also staying at this gorgeous villa. You can also choose a different hotel, but where we're staying is called La Esplanade, and it's this beautiful Mediterranean inspired villa hotel that is like little villas. Every room faces the ocean. It's gorgeous. There's an opportunity to do yoga every day. And then, of course, we're going to be doing breathwork, meditation, a lot of inner work, and a lot of adventure and a lot of great food. So all of the things. If you're one of the people who loves all of those things, then you're our person. And if you're ready to step into this next chapter of your life with a new sense of confidence, this is for you. This is for you. This is your chance to come and get to experience this on the island of St. Martin. We're staying on the French side. So go to jenlist.com/retreat. Sign up before April 1st. This is the best time to sign up. If you are going to come, now is the time. So sign up. And I look forward to, we do have payment plans available too. So if you go to jenlist.com/retreat, there is a link there where you can go and do payment plans. If that feels better to you, you can leave a deposit and then you can get put on a payment plan so that it just makes it a little bit more digestible to pay it off. So you have that option. So go and reserve your spot. We look forward to having you there with us. It's going to be such a blast. I, before then, will be traveling to multiple different places and then making my way to St. Martin so that I can be there with you. And I'll be recording some podcast episodes along the way as well. So thank you for joining me for this Friday Fred. And I look forward to our next episode together. Until then, you just keep shining your magical unicorn light out there for all to see. I'll see you next time.